I think about my adult life, and I've done some really scary things that I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. This is so terrifying. And doing it and forcing myself to do it, wow, the benefits of it were huge. And that's not something anyone could teach you or give you. It's something that you have to develop on your own. And, we definitely watch our kids and we're like, we want them to develop everything that we already know, but they have to go on their own journey. It's not just about the end result. It's about the process to get there. So you want your kid to have a job, that's fantastic. That doesn't mean you can go out and get them that job, because again, it's that process of them going out to places, trying to sell themselves, hearing no, continuing to go. That's what builds it up for them. So we're doing a big disservice by jumping in too early.
Welcome to the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Perda. As a marriage coach who's married with 3 kids, I know how much parenthood could change a marriage. If flirting, laughing, and having fun together feels like a thing of the past, then I'm here to teach you that marriage doesn't have to feel so hard with your parents, and your marriage can thrive even when you're in the season of raising kids. Whether you're in a good place in your marriage and you just want to continue growing together, or you're wondering if you even like your spouse anymore, this podcast has something for you. Join me here each week as we dive into what it takes to help your marriage grow, and maybe even do a 180. You'll learn ways to handle conflict better, bring that spark back into your relationship, as well as learn how to improve other areas of your life from my lovely guest experts. Are you ready for the next stage of your life in marriage? Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. So today I have a guest here, my new friend, Keri Cooper. She is a therapist, and I am so thrilled to talk to her because what I am noticing as a parent of 3, which is even more apparent with my teenager right now, is how different kids are today. And it has so much to do with how we're choosing to parent differently than how we were raised before. And I'm really excited to dive into this because I feel like a lot of kids these days are lacking grit. They're lacking frustration tolerance, resilience, and it has a lot to do with, in my opinion, a lot of the conveniences that we've come to get used to and have available to us that are meant to make our lives easier, but in some aspects are actually making things harder for us in the parenting realm. So Keri, it's so good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Can you please introduce yourself to the listeners? Let us know where you live, how old your kids are, and what made you decide to become a therapist and specialize in helping parents with their kids.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I love talking about mental health and kids. It's like my favorite topic ever. So this is going to be great. I'm excited. I live in northern New Jersey. I have 4 children, and I have an 11-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 16-year-old, and an 18-year-old right now. So yes, I see how each one is like a little bit different, and depending on their year of birth and what's going on. My youngest was the year, she was in kindergarten the year everything shut down for COVID. And I've definitely seen how that's impacted that grade as well. But I've always been like class mom. So I'm very familiar with what these grades look like. And my oldest is now in college. So yeah, parenting has changed a lot. I have been a therapist for over 25 years at this point. So I've always worked with kids. Right now, my private practice, I work really with high school and college kids, but I've always worked with children. And in 25 years, I have seen how different the mental health looks like now as it did 25 years ago. And I did this because growing up, I don't know, I was one of those teenagers that was trying to figure it out and just needed an adult to be there to kind of listen without judgment. Teenagers make really dumb decisions. It's normal. But to have an adult there that they could talk to and get guidance from that's not going to make them feel stupid or that they're doing something wrong is so important. And I've been fortunate enough in my practice to be that to a lot of kids, and to really put them on a great track. Because if they feel like their relationship is really valued and they feel heard, they're so much more willing to listen to the advice that's given. So that's also why I wrote my books, Mental Health Uncensored, 10 Foundations Every Parent Needs to Know. And then I wrote a workbook with the same title for kids. That way they can go through it. Because I really believe that you have to build a foundation for mental health, such as sleep and eating well and all of these good things I'm sure we're going to get into today. But yeah, I just blanked on where I was going. I'm sorry. This is...
No, I love that. I mean, mental health has become such a standard now, which
Mhm.
I love because, like, back when we were growing up, like, people who went to therapy were like, I don't know, like for me, I think my mom put myself in therapy because my parents went through a divorce and I was like, what, 10?
Mhm.
And then she got remarried when I was like 12 or something like that. And but other than that, like, I never heard of people going to therapy unless something really traumatic happened. But it wasn't like like, let's just have those, like, kind of like equivalent to an annual checkup, but you would have that more frequently for your mind, right? And now it's like, it's almost like almost everyone has a therapist, almost.
Which is great. And there's also some downfalls of that as well. It's great that mental health is so well accepted. The downfall of it is that, some anxiety is quite normal. Like, it is normal to be anxious before a test. It is normal to have some anxiety, especially as a teenager with social situations. And we have to be very careful that we're not then telling people that they have an anxiety disorder. That is very different. Again, there is a time and a place for anxiety. It is our body trying to help us and stay safe, and that is normal. But sometimes we kind of over therapize and are like, oh, well, you have an anxiety disorder. And that's not necessarily the case. So I always caution people that feelings are normal. And just because you have feelings doesn't mean you have a mental health diagnosis.
No, even if you have big feelings too,
Yeah,
because some people, like, just tend to have more, they're just more deeply feeling, and that's okay. And
absolutely.
so, since we're on this subject, when would a person be like, huh, I could benefit from therapy then?
I mean, the reality is anybody can benefit from therapy because it really does help you kind of process what's going on, your reactions, how you are taking things in. So it's beneficial to everybody at any point in life. But you just have to be careful that you're not then walking out being like, well, I have an anxiety disorder, so I can't do that. That's kind of one of my biggest hangups in my office is I have a lot of kids coming in being like, well, I can't go out with friends because I have social anxiety. And it's like, well, wait a second. You may have social anxiety. That does not mean you can't go out with friends. How do we work through it? That way you can still do things. I feel like, unfortunately, some people are using a diagnosis to say, I can't do this. And really to sell themselves short. You can do a lot of things. It's how do you manage it? And how do you work through it? But again, it goes back to that grit that we were talking about, I think, before
Mm-hmm.
we were recording. You're going to have uncomfortable feelings in life and you have to go through them. And as parents, we can't save them all the time from these uncomfortable feelings. The moment they say, I'm anxious about going to school, our response can't be, well, then stay home, which school refusals through the roof right now.
Interesting. I mean, I hear that all the time. And yeah, I'm all about, like, the occasional rare mental
Mhm.
health days, right? But if that's like a daily occurrence, I feel like that's that's not what we want to teach them, because that's not real life, right? You can't
Not
just,
really.
like, oh, I don't feel well, I'm not going to go work.
Mhm.
Like, sure, under certain circumstances, you also have to kind of zoom out and be like, how often am I doing this? Am I going to risk my job? Um, and I feel like we've kind of flip flopped, right? As I don't
Yeah.
know about you, but I'm a millennial. And so,
Mhm.
my parents, not really there for me
Mhm.
emotionally. I have immigrant parents, and so they just didn't have the capacity. They also didn't have that experience growing up of having emotionally available parents. And so, how would they know to do that for me? And now I feel like, because there's a shift in how we're parenting, about how we're caring so much more about how our kids feel and making sure that we are doing things that our parents didn't do to, help them have a better experience of childhood. We are now shifting from authoritative to permissive, which is not, like, that's a little too much, swinging to the opposite side of
Yeah,
the spectrum.
we spun too far. We just have, and we need to come to like more of a middle ground. When a child is anxious and doesn't want to do something because of anxiety, the more we tell them, okay, don't do it, the worse the anxiety actually gets. The better way around it is to have them do it and realize that I can do something and have a feeling of anxiety and still get through it. because that actually develops strength within them to continue to do that. Sometimes in life, we have to do things that are really uncomfortable, and that's okay. That's what builds all that up in us. And, sometimes that means our kid may have a lunch with none of their friends. And that's, kind of stinks and it's uncomfortable and our heart kind of breaks for them. But that can also be an opportunity for them to be uncomfortable and to have to reach out and make other friends or to figure out where else to go for lunch. Like they have to problem solve. But the solution is not to call the school and have their lunch moved, which unfortunately I see.
Wow. Yeah, I think we are jumping in way too soon
Mm-hmm.
to help them avoid feeling uncomfortable, avoid helping them feel frustration or even pain. And like, I get it, it is difficult to see your child suffer, but
Absolutely.
it's in that suffering that they get to find out more about themselves and what they're capable of, right? There's so much value in helping them have evidence that they can get through things.
Yeah, that's what you build on. I mean, even think about your adult life, and I think about my adult life, and I've done some really scary things that I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. This is so terrifying. And doing it and forcing myself to do it, wow, the benefits of it were huge. And that's not something anyone could teach you or give you. It's something that you have to develop on your own. And, we definitely watch our kids and we're like, we want them to develop everything that we already know, but they have to go on their own journey. It's not just about the end result, it's about the process to get there. So you want your kid to have a job, that's fantastic. That doesn't mean you can go out and get them that job because again, it's that process of them going out to places, trying to sell themselves, hearing no, continuing to go. That's what builds it up for them. So we're doing a big disservice by jumping in too early.
I totally agree. And I had this like conversation with my co-parents who are like also our best friends.
Which is
And
wonderful, by the way.
yeah, I know it's like
Yeah.
a really rare thing and we're so,
Yes.
so grateful. It makes life so much easier. So we were talking about how even down to the things that we had for fun growing up, right? Even like, so our kids love video games. They love screens. Like, I think everybody can relate to that,
Yeah,
right?
it's so
And
addicting. That's how they're designed.
yes.
Yeah.
And so did I. But the difference is that what I played for video games was like, okay, well, there's a set number of lives. If you die, you have to start back over again. And it was very like mission based. There was something that you were accomplishing. And you also had to wait a while for the next version to come out. Whereas now it's like their games, they never end. There's also no higher purpose to what they're doing. It's like, okay, like let's take Fortnite. It's like, okay, get a lot of kills. And then they have these new packages that come, I'm probably saying the wrong thing, but like they have the new versions coming out all the time. And so the businesses have now shifted to how can we monopolize your attention and time by giving you things that are constantly feeding you with dopamine and that are overstimulating and versus what we had growing up. And I'm like, wow, that's so crazy because yeah, I loved video games, but I knew when to stop.
Right.
Whereas now they have a difficult time stopping because it's designed to encourage them not to stop.
Mm-hmm. And real life is so much more boring compared to those video games.
Yes.
And that's why you have so many kids with attention issues in school. I mean, think of the video games. They're like, it's here, it's there. It's like so exciting. Like, your brain is constantly stimulated. And then you go into class and it's like, wait a second. I just have to sit here and listen. It's really hard.
Yeah, it is really hard.
I mean, I was a therapist well before social media and smartphones came around, and it has 100% changed our children and our adults, by the way. I talk a lot to kids who I'm like, oh, so what are you doing after dinner? Like, what's happening in your family? And they're like, well, my mom's playing Candy Crush, and it's like, oh, but then we're the same parents that then turn to our kids and are like, get off your phones. Well, then you have to. And I get it's hard. It's hard even for adults. I have to use social media for work, especially, but I took it all off my phone. I have to go to my laptop now if I'm going to get on any of that stuff because I know how dangerous it is.
Yeah, I think we definitely have to practice what we preach
Yes.
and having boundaries. And I mean, I get it. There's moments where I can be super addicted. And I've noticed about myself that like I use it to numb out when I'm overwhelmed.
Yes.
So
The
I
sleep.
noticed that like
Uh-huh.
if I'm on it a lot, it's because I am avoiding dealing with something.
Yeah.
But not everyone has that level of awareness of themselves. They kind of just get sucked in. And it's
Mhm.
so easy to get sucked into. Like my sister, she just came to visit for Thanksgiving, and this has been someone who's like just always on her phone. And when she visited, I rarely saw her on her phone. And I was like, that's interesting. And she's offering to help a lot more. She's
Mhm.
kidless by choice. And I was like, well, this is really nice and refreshing. She had uninstalled all of the games and social media off of her phone. So literally, there's nothing interesting
Yep.
for her to do on her phone except for like text people, which is good to socialize,
Mhm.
or call people. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. That's a wonderful way to practice self-control with boundaries, knowing enough about yourself that if it's there, you're going to use it. But kids, their brains are not developed enough for them to do that for themselves. Like I saw a drastic change with my teenager. We gave him a phone way too early. He's born in 2010. So like we didn't know the negative impact that it would have because it was such a new thing. Like there's a whole book about it, like the anxious generation,
Yeah.
or I think you're familiar with that.
Yep.
And like he's of that era where we were like, oh yeah, this is convenient. Here, have a phone so we can contact you for sports. And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden, he had so much access to things that weren't always the best,
Yep.
right? And we just found ourselves continuously just like, wait a minute, okay, let's turn off this access, let's turn off this access. And it is just like, okay, well, for our younger kids, we're gonna wait till you're 16, because clearly we need to learn from what we did
And
unknowingly.
it's hard because life is now designed where there is a reality that at a certain age they do need a phone or they're going to be
Yes.
left out of social things. So
Yep.
I
Yep.
can't sit here and say, don't ever get your kids a phone or let them have social media because that's just not a reality.
No.
We'll always say, be the last parent to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Of that grade, of your kids' friends, be that last parent to do it. And it is hard because even with school, they post so much stuff on Instagram, even for sports. Like if you don't have it, you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Because again, for the schools, it's so easy just to put out an Instagram post. Oh, tryouts are this day. But if you don't have Instagram, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah. I mean, that's tough. So, how do you recommend for parents to help guide the kids to know how to navigate that all? Like,
There's a few things. One is I always say be the last one to get the
yeah.
phone, be the last one to give access to whatever social media, that group of kids is on and communicating through. And for each group, it's a little bit different, but always be the last. And then I always say, no matter how old your kid is, if they're in the house, and including adults, by the way, unless there's a reason that you can't, your phones should not be charged in your bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give your kid that temptation. Don't let them be getting phone calls at 2 a.m. Nothing good is happening. Take that out of their, ability to just have to deal with that and put everything in another place, charge everything overnight, no access. And that includes also the laptops and the iPads and the Apple
Mm-hmm.
watches and whatever else that may be. Take it all out of the bedroom.
Yeah, I like that. I think we've always done that with him. Now he lives with his mom, but from the start, we never allowed him to have his phone in his room at night. Like that's just not good hygiene.
It's
And I
not.
know you're all about like helping kids with strong
Mhm.
foundations. And I know
Yeah.
sleep, you said sleep was one of
Sleep is
them.
huge. I'm also a certified sleep coach and I work with adults a lot on their sleep. But a phone is so disruptive to your sleep. It is so disruptive, even just knowing it's there. Get it
Mhm.
out of the bedroom.
Yeah. I haven't done that yet, but I have realized that like I will go to sleep earlier if I'm reading on my Kindle
Yeah.
versus doing something on my phone. And so I
Mhm.
have to be like really conscious of that and know like, okay, I know that this is going to mess up my sleep.
Yeah,
Is this worth doing it? Cuz it's so
Mhm.
easy to go down that rabbit hole.
It is.
And I've tried my best to like turn off notifications so I don't get notifications for social media,
Yeah.
even though I need to use it for work,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I make sure that my phone goes gray after a certain
Yeah.
time. I also have do not disturb on after
Mm-hmm.
a certain time because I recognized years ago that my phone was pulling at my attention
Yeah.
versus me deciding to check it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, wait a minute, who's controlling what now? I don't want my phone to control me. I want to use it as the tool that it is.
Exactly. And another good guideline as well is, family dinners are so important. And I don't think people
Mm-hmm.
understand the research behind them. There's actually really strong research behind family dinners. Like when people come into my office and they're like, I want my kids to get better grades. I'm afraid my kids are going to do drugs. Family dinners, the more you have family dinners, the less likely your children are to use drugs, the higher their grades are going to be. Like this is all really well researched. Family dinners means no electronics at the dinner table for
Yep.
anybody, including the parent.
Yep.
Like you have to lead by example.
No, agreed. Agreed. We, like, my husband and I will set our phones away from the table
Mhm.
unless like my husband's checking Slack, but if he is, I'm like, "Hi, are you almost done?"
Yeah.
Like, cuz it's very distracting too. It's like, okay, well, we're trying to be here together. We're trying to be present with each other. So, like, what's going on? I can't tell if you're reading an article or working or like whatever it is. So, like, let's be done with that because I'm
Mhm.
sure it's not an emergency. So, like, let's not do that. And even going out with people, like at restaurants too, I think that if you're going to hang out with people, you should do your best to be present with them because you're showing them that they matter to you by not looking at your phone.
Yeah. And, that's something my kids always comment on actually when we go out to dinner. There's no electronics at our dinner table, whether we're
Mm-hmm.
out or here. And listen, I get it as a parent. I've had really young kids before. I get trying to go out to dinner and do something nice as a family. And the kids are like, just they can't sit still. And you just want to throw them that iPad to distract them. Please don't. I know it's
Mm-hmm.
harder parenting. I know it's the hard option. But for a child to learn to sit for an hour and have to interact is so important for their lives. Like that's how they're going to learn to sit at school. That's how they're going to learn to be able to focus and to have those communication skills as well, to really be able to speak to adults and to be able to speak well. Please don't give them an iPad during dinner because it makes your life easier. I get that it's hard, but you're doing such a disservice to these children. And me and my kids always, when we're out to dinner with my husband, my kids are always like, oh my God, look at that family. And every kid is sitting there on an iPad. Even ones in like high chairs, like babies.
Yeah.
And I get it. I've been there. I've been there with them throwing the food on the floor and then they're screaming and you're disturbing other guests. And you're like, so sorry. But like trying to parent well and kids are going to throw a fit every once in a while. And that's okay. I'd much rather sit next to a table with a kid throwing a fit than a kid being on an iPad.
I know. And it sucks because it's like we get that it's easier in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
but because you and I have kids that are like a little bit older, because a lot of the listeners here, they might have younger kids and they might be like, okay, this is how I am going to enjoy my dinner. Like, we get it.
I
We want
get
you
it.
to enjoy your dinner too. And we want you to set your family up for the ability to enjoy future dinners and not feel like they're dysregulated all the time. Like,
Right.
kind of like Coco Melon. Like, my youngest, she's 5.5. And at the time, like years ago, Coco Melon was like a huge thing. And then it came out that it was dysregulating. We're like, that makes sense because anytime it was time to turn it off, she would like go into a fit of rage. And we're like, what is happening? I don't get it. And now we're noticing certain shows do the same thing to her. So as soon as we notice that, like, okay, we're going to switch gears here. We're not going to watch that anymore because this is now controlling your feelings. When we ask you to stop to do something else, you don't respond like this. But when you watch this, you do. So it's like,
Yeah. And when it goes to dinners as well, I always encourage parents like have a date night. Go out
yes.
without your children. That is
Oh my gosh,
perfectly
yes.
fine. And enjoy it. Like that's the time to really enjoy your dinner. But when I do go out with my family, what we do a lot is in my purse, I always have a stack of cards. And
Love
we
it.
play card games a lot when we're out to dinner as a family. or Uno or something like that, because that's fun and the family's all involved. And, if you need to distract kids, go for that. Or coloring books. Like you can go back to basics. I always had coloring books with me, or wiki sticks or something like that, because they can still do that and be engaged and not on the screen.
Yeah, because when they're on a screen, they're like zombies. It's like they don't even know the world is existing beyond the screen. And I love that you bring a deck of cards. Like I'm gonna have to like remind myself of that and just have it in my purse, because we love to play games together, and that's a great way to like kill time while you're waiting for your food to be made and served. Um, and I get it. Like going out is a lot, and also it's enjoyable. It's a nice treat. So like there are alternatives to bringing the device, and we try to shift screen time to be more of like a reward instead of like an ongoing thing. So we've completely switched to like no screens during the week unless we're watching a movie together as a family.
Yeah, that's very different than sitting on a phone or an iPad. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And then also like no YouTube, because oh my gosh, YouTube is just a hot mess right now. There's so much out there that is not to the benefit of the kids, but it attracts their attention, and it's just so much. But anyway, what other things?
So much.
So much.
It is not easy to parent. It isn't. It's exhausting. It's tiring. It is so, and I joke with my kids all the time. I'm like, parenting would be so much easier if I just gave you an iPad and a bowl of Cheez-Its and called it a day. But it's hard. But you have to put the work in to develop the kids that you want to raise. So to be able to prepare the meals of the healthy food and without fail hear complaints of, oh my gosh, this is what's for dinner tonight. Yep, it is. But that's what you need to do. I can't tell you how many college kids I work with actually who tell me, Keri, I'm going on a date, but like, I don't eat anything but chicken fingers. That's a problem.
College students?
Yes. And even post-college. And it's a problem when they're going on dinners for work, because when parents give in and just say, okay, fine, just eat the chicken fingers and hamburgers and pizza and nothing else, they never develop those taste buds or those experiences to eat other food. And now you have college kids, and again, post-college jobs, like they are going out for jobs, dinners for work, and they don't know what to eat. It is an actual issue.
That is fascinating. My 9-year-old has sensory issues, and thank goodness for a friend. She had saw like this Facebook post. We got turned onto feeding therapy.
Yeah.
And so like if your kids are having these issues where they're very like even brand specific food, not even just like any chicken fingers or any chicken nuggets, but like only of one brand, I urge you to go look up a pediatric occupational therapist and go see them, because it has been life-changing. We still have lots to go. Like we're not there yet, but I don't make different meals anymore.
No.
Do I still hear complaints? Absolutely.
All
but
the
you
time.
know what? He still tries it, and I know that it's helping him in the long run because it's exposing him to different textures and flavors. And I'm hoping in the long run he'll turn out just fine and eat, quote unquote normal adult food. But like you said, Keri, parenting is hard. And like we just have to do certain things and think, how is this going to help them in the long run? Is this a short-term gain or a long-term gain?
And, it's interesting. We were just in France over the summer. There is no such thing as kids' menus. Like they don't have kids' food in other countries. Like
love that.
Eat what all the adults eat, which is what we should be doing here.
Yes.
And there's also, so many issues now. I was just reading this book about their jaw and how kids aren't developing strong, teeth and jaw lines because we're giving them just like mush food, like no
processed food,
anything. It just melts.
Yes.
And that goes back to like, when your kids can do something physically, you need to let them do something physically. That includes cutting their own steak, by the way. I'm scared of it. My kindergartner was cutting her steak. And I remember when mom saw her with a knife, I was like, oh my God, your daughter has a knife. I was like, yeah, she cuts her own steak. Like,
yeah.
It's going to be messy. It's not going to be the way you want it to be. That's okay. They have to develop those skills.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Thankfully, my kindergartner will eat pretty much anything. She's like my much easier eater, but it's so true because if you're only feeding them nuggets,
Yep.
what else? There's mac and cheese,
Mm-hmm.
like what else? French fries. They're all things that don't need much muscle
Yep.
to consume. But like if you think about more of like a paleo diet, and I'm not encouraging this by the way, but like steak, like that takes a lot of chewing. Chicken
Yes.
breast, lots of chewing.
Mm-hmm.
Eating things out of
Salad.
bones, like just getting messy,
Pepper.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
Lots of kids struggle with even like picking food up, right? Like I've seen people not eat things off of bones, like drumsticks,
Mm-hmm.
like that's a sensory thing. So yeah, I am a huge advocate for pediatric occupational therapy.
Yes.
Go check that out, please.
Yes. Before, like, sooner than later.
Yes.
It really does make all the difference. If you're noticing an issue, address it, work on it. It really does change. It really will get better. But the solution is not to do what's easy. And I get that that's hard and that's a hard decision to make. But we have to do the hard things at times. And also with the food, we know how much food impacts our mental health. If your kid needs nutrients in order to focus, in order to not have massive anxiety or depression, like these are actually really important, these nutrients. When you eat junk, you feel bad. You just do. When you're eating really healthy, you feel so much more alive.
No, absolutely. And like even for people who are neurodivergent, it's like even more important for you to be aware of like the imbalances in their nutrients that they're taking in. So like they need more omega-3s or just all the omegas, and even like the vitamin B stuff. Like I think, and I also have my own gripe with like the food industry now.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of our food is not as nutrient dense as it
Horrendous.
was before because it's just just a lot more people now and they're trying to take shortcuts and all of that. But anyway, that aside, yes, it's easy to just put things in the oven or put things in the air fryer and say, okay, I'm not going to get any complaints. Because trust me, one of my least favorite questions that I get asked by my son every fucking night, what's for dinner? Because I know no matter what I say, unless it's his favorite, he is going to complain or groan about it. And I'm like, you know what? Don't even ask. You're going to figure it out when you sit down and see what's on your plate.
That's what I say as well. You will find out at dinner time, and I'm sure you're going to complain about it.
Yeah.
100%.
So why ask?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Now I like just sympathize with my parents so much more because, we're always like, oh, what's for dinner? Because we're not the ones making it. We're not the ones, doing things all the time. Kids have more time to be bored. And so it's like, oh, what are you doing? What are you making? Like, don't ask me, please.
Yeah.
I love you. Go away. All right. So sleep, good food. Yeah. What else?
Sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
Kids need to get out of the house. So something that's really interesting that's happened over the last few years. Years ago, kids would just go play. Go find your friend, go ride your bike, go outside, go play, right? Everything now is like an organized play date. Mm-hmm. Like it's, we have this organized sports practice and then this organized sports training. And then, so-and-so's mom is having the kids over and she's, doing gingerbread houses with them. And it's like, wait a second. Why is there always an adult involved anytime these kids are playing? And also so much of the play stuff is indoors. I know we started talking about sunlight, but I started going on to organized play dates as well. But yeah, like kids just need to be able to go play in the backyard, go out. They need the sun. The sun is what's going to help them go to sleep because your body needs to know like, oh, now it's daylight and now the sun's going down and now it's time to sleep. And you need that vitamin D as well. It's really important. Just also like fresh air and just nature and just getting outside. And I rarely see kids outside. It's really sad.
Oh, where do you live again?
I'm in northern New Jersey.
Okay.
So I moved from California last year to Georgia, and I will say I'm so glad that we picked the neighborhood that we did because it's very normal for kids to
Yeah.
play outside. So they'll get home from the bus stop and just play outside until we ask them to come in. It's like, okay, you gotta do homework now, or we'll have random kids coming. No, okay, they're not random, but like the neighborhood kids
Mhm.
coming in and out of everyone's houses, like just like house hopping.
Yeah.
And it's been so refreshing to see because we didn't have that in California. And like my neighbor across the street, she's on a hill, like a grassy hill, and the kids will literally take snow sleds and sled down the grassy hill. So it's like you don't even need a particular
Right.
weather to do that. And we just like love to see all this creative
Yeah.
and like good old kid fun.
Because when the kids are playing, it's developing one, they figure out what to do. They really get creative, but they also learn how to navigate situations amongst themselves, disagreements. Whose turn is it? Whose idea are we going to go with? Instead of adults getting involved, the kids are learning how to do this. And that really comes in handy, especially fast forward to college and you're having roommate issues. How are you navigating this if you never learned it before? If there was always an adult to direct it?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and I do feel like they need to learn how to have fun too. Like back to your point about how there's a lot more parent structured play dates. Like
Yeah.
we should not be their main source of entertainment.
Mhm.
They need to be able to have that free time to be bored, to come up with the stuff that we couldn't even imagine up for ourselves. Because let's be real, like as we get older, our imagination starts
Mhm.
to kind of die off a little
Right.
bit, right? Depending on who you are. I'm sure there's like still plenty of adults who are like big kids, and I love that. But I am not one of those. And like I would have never thought to sled down a grassy hill. I would have been like, over my dead body am I doing that, right? But they had that random idea, and it's like, wow, endless hours of fun for them.
Yeah. Like let them go have fun.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So there's now sleep, there's food, there's sun. How about one last thing? What's something else that you think is essential for kids to have, for adults to let the kids have, to set them up for success?
They need to feel like they're capable.
Mm.
And a lot of parents don't realize how much that develops their self-confidence. When kids know they could do stuff on their own, that gives them a sense of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite example of what you can teach your child to do once and then completely give it to them is laundry.
Yes.
The moment they can physically load that washer machine, let them. Because what it teaches them, laundry is my favorite example because if they don't do their laundry, it hurts nobody but them, right? Nobody else is impacted. Don't remind them about laundry because then they have to pre-plan. Oh, my baseball jersey is dirty and I need it for Thursday. They really have to time manage. It's teaching them so many skills, laundry, besides just doing the actual laundry, which is also important. But it teaches them to pre-plan. It teaches them to time manage. And again, if they don't do it, it's not impacting anybody but them. And that's okay. If they have to have a, dirty shirt, then they have a dirty shirt. No one's that the world won't, end. So,
Oh my
but then
gosh.
they get that sense of accomplishment of like, oh, like I take care of this on my own. I
Yes.
do my own laundry.
Yes. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're giving me ideas like, maybe we should start having our 9-year-old do his laundry because we've had our teenager doing his laundry for a while, but it was only in response to him having gum in his pocket
Uh-huh.
and messing up everyone
Yep.
else's clothes. So he got the gift of doing his own laundry going forward. But my 9-year-old is fully capable of doing
Completely.
that. We already have him sorting his clothes outside of
Mhm.
ours and then putting it away. So like what's throwing it into something and pushing some buttons.
Yeah.
So
So everyone needs
I
their own
love
laundry
this.
hamper. In my house, that
Oh,
Thursday's my
absolutely.
laundry day. Don't touch the laundry machine on Thursday. It's my day. I've
Ooh.
claimed it because that's when I do mine and my husband's. And my laundry room literally will look like a college laundry room because if you leave your stuff in the washer too long, somebody else is going to take it out and throw it on the floor. And they do
Yeah.
it all the time to each other. And I don't care and I don't get involved. Next time, know when your laundry is going to be done to move it.
Yeah.
Can't hold everybody else up.
No, and that's what's going to happen in college anyway when you have shared laundry machines. Like, use it or lose it.
Yep. Get used to it now.
Oh my gosh. I love that so much. Okay, so tell me more about your book, because I'm sure that the listeners are going to be like, okay, these are things that I knew were important, but wow, now that like you've got me
that's really
thinking
what the
about
book
it.
says. It's like the things that like we knew were important. So like 5 of them like were like more physical, which we really covered a lot of them right now. But 5 of them are more like mental. Like I really talk to parents about learning to allow your child to say no, and like that's okay, but that you have to model that as well. Like I have so many kids that I work with who don't know how to say no. They don't know how to say no to a friend. No, I can't hang out with you. I have homework today. No, I don't want to go do that with you today. Like they don't know how to say no. They're such a people pleaser. And they learn so much of that. I'm going to say really because of the moms who are constantly saying yes, 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 when they're exhausted and tired and should be saying no.
Yeah.
And that's something that we don't think about as parents, that when we're constantly saying yes, 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 even when we don't want to, we're teaching our child that you have to constantly say yes.
I guess this is a good thing. My kids have no problem saying no. Sometimes annoying, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, I'm glad that they view their own preferences as something to consider as well.
That it's important.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Well, that's a little positive spin, because I'm like, well, that's annoying. I would love for you to go play with them right now, but if that's not something that you want to do, then that's fine. I always tell them, like on the weekend, if there is someone to play with, you cannot choose a screen over that. So you can decide not to play with them, but you are not going to use your screen because there's clearly someone who wants to play with you. So you can either play with them or do something else, but you are not going to be on that screen because like there's life out there. Like go be a part of it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Keri, for coming onto this show. I have a lot to think about, and I'm excited to talk about a lot of what we chatted about with my husband later today, because there's definitely some things that we can shift and start to like empower our kids more. And I'm so excited for what the listeners are going to take away from this episode. So for those who want to connect with you, can you please share where's the best place to find you?
Sure. I'm on Instagram, Keri Cooper Holistic Therapy. And my books are on Amazon, Mental Health Uncensored, 10 Foundations Every Parent Needs to Know. And then there's a workbook that's really great for the teenagers as well, so they could really take hold of their own life.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Well, thanks again. Listeners, if you have loved this show, please go check her out. Go connect with her. Let her know you found her from this show. And if you know someone who could benefit from this episode, send it to them or share this on your Instagram stories and tag us so we can give you a shout out. If you love this show, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you being a listener. Please consider leaving a rating and review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That's what helps this show grow and helps women like you find this show and get the help that they need. And that's all we have for you today. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll catch you back here on the next episode. Bye.
That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, please send me a message over on Instagram at Michelle Perda Coaching to let me know what you loved most about it. Hearing from my listeners is my absolute favorite. And if you've been loving this podcast, please leave a rating and review. This will help people like you find the show and get the help they need. Catch you here on the next episode. Bye.